So the Mary Magdalene code that she gave me was the 7 challenges that the soul effortlessly overcomes. And she gave me these as activations and sacred symbols to work through one a month. And I've already explained how much it's changed my life, which it has. So just a little bit of the nitty-gritty of the actual code itself. Excuse me. So the 7 challenges of the ego are, the first one is darkness. This is any time, Mary explained this to me, it is any time that we're not in the light. Anytime we forget the truth of who we are and we get stuck in the stories and the scripts in our neural pathways, those limiting beliefs, that trauma, that conditioning. And anytime that we're in pain, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we're in darkness. And it can also include depression as well, and a very strong attachment to that field of distortion and distraction when we find it very difficult to actually even want to create the time to go within. It's a very powerful activation, this, because it literally fills us with light and with sacred awareness, so that we can become aware of what is running us. And then as soon as we're aware of what is running us, then, that is that's transformation right there. And it literally what happens is that the light dissolves the darkness, and its tendrils through time and lineage. So this is through points of time and through ancestral lines as well. The second activation she gave me is overcoming the ego's desire and craving. So the ego is based on our limiting beliefs and the guilt and the shame and the conditioning and our trauma. So it has a completely different set of desires than our true self, right? Our sacred self. So it does tend to want to keep us small, restricted, constricted, because it wants to keep us safe, because it sees a very dangerous world out there, because that is all that it perceives. This really is about perception. And to go along with that, the ego's cravings is any kind of craving, addiction, or behavioral patterns and habits that don't serve us anymore, whatever that might be. And we do that because either we want to numb ourselves, we want to soothe ourselves, we don't want to feel that raw feeling of pain, suffering, so we tend to have these habits. Or, and it's connected, we want to fill ourselves up because we don't feel that we are enough, so we fill ourselves up. For me, it's food. It can be sweet things. It used to be alcohol for me, and thankfully that has healed. And so we all have a thing, right? We all have a thing. And so the soul effortlessly overcomes this, and by replacing this perception, this vision of our divine selves. Yeah. And the third challenge, the third activation is is overcoming the ego's ignorance. So this is the ego's judgment of self, judgment of others, judgment of any situation we find ourselves in. This can be relentless. I am assuming it's not just me that finds this one quite ingrained in there. It's like, oh, what's wrong, and this activation shows us that actually nothing is wrong, and to use the divine vision to see through the limiting belief, to see through the judgment, see through the worthlessness is connected to this, and shame is connected to this, to see through it and to see what limiting beliefs or guilt or shame is running, to see through it and come into wholeness, oneness, completeness, know ourselves as complete, exactly the way that we are. It's very powerful. The fourth activation is the so in her gospel, these are all from her gospel that she guided me to, and this one is the zeal for death, the ego's enthusiasm for death. So this is the overcoming the everyday killjoy of comparison. You ever get stuck on social media looking at somebody else's wonderful life? This is jealousy, overcoming jealousy, and actually lethal jealousy, even just at a thought level. Sadly, it does happen with people becoming so jealous that people, particularly women, are sometimes actually murdered, killed, because of this lethal jealousy, because somebody cannot stand for somebody else to have them. So, and the other things that are also here is grievance. This is the killjoy. This will stop us in our tracks. Grievance, when we're holding on to resentment or unforgivingness. And if we have a fear of death or dying or murder or suicide, often because we've experienced it in our lifetime or in another lifetime. So this overcomes all of those. And right at the core of this is a fear, Mary's shown me, is that it's a fear of abandonment. It's a fear of rejection. So moving on to the fifth activation that she gives to us, and this is overcoming the ego's entrapment of the mind or the body or the heart. This is when we become so stuck in thinking about a problem. If we get stuck in our minds, that loop, the monkey head or the monkey brain that goes boom, 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 boom. Here's another thing, there's another thing, there's another thing. Whoa, we get stuck in our mind, or we get stuck in a loop of the same thing going round and round and round. I had something that lasted for probably 20 years. Something I had made a mistake, and oh my goodness, did I suffer? Not only did I make the initial mistake, but I carried it with me for 20 years. I don't have it anymore, thanks to Mary. Oh my goodness. So this is when we really get stuck, or we get focused, or we get stuck in our emotions. We get really stuck in the whatever it may be, sorrow or guilt in particular can really get us and keep us stuck. If we get caught up in our bodies as well, if we get it's when we forget our soul. It's okay to obviously honor the body. It's really important, because we are here, and we are here to bring heaven on earth in our bodies and in our minds and in our hearts. It's okay. It's just when we forget the very essence of who we are. We forget our spirit. We forget the divine within us, and it can become a very anxious place, stressful place. So this activation overcomes and heals this. So then we come on to the sixth activation, the sixth challenge of the ego, which is the ego's arrogance. This is when the ego believes it's better than the soul, better than anybody, and can't be wrong. It has to be right. And the reason for this is because the ego, based on its perception on who it is and what this world is, it fears losing. So it fears losing whatever it be, livelihood or status, respect, losing work, losing community, friends, family, losing a home, or ultimately losing life. So, yeah, and so what we tend to do, what the ego does, it's not our true self, remember, but we all have aspects of this because we all live in duality, we live in separation, and this is the journey to remember who we truly are. And this is why this code is so powerful, because it just deals with all the challenges that the ego, the separated mind, puts to us. So this is about how we we use defense. We defend ourselves, and sometimes we attack because we want to get in there first, right? And this completely overcomes this need for any defenses and attack, and allows love and faith to be our defense, and to be able to divinely create, because this ultimately is about creating. And we either create from the wisdom that's within us, particularly the divine feminine wisdom, the wisdom of the divine mother, and we need the divine masculine, which we find in the stillness, which is the challenge that I described as the entrapment, because it overcomes that worry and concern with beautiful, like the eternal stillness of the cosmos, infinite peace, and in there is power. Yeah, it's the essence of power. It's not a wisdom, it's just literally the energy of power. And with that, and with this, the wisdom of the great mother, which is within us, it's not outside of us, it's within us, then we divinely create. We don't miscreate from our defense and attack, which sadly normally we do, yeah, until we're aware of it. And then lastly, the seventh challenge of the ego, as described in her gospel, is the wrath. This is the anger and the guile of the ego. The guile is the key word here, because this is about repression of anger, sometimes particularly, well, all of us, I think, and we have been conditioned to a certain degree, but particularly women, being, not to show our anger, not to get angry. So we've trained ourselves not to even get angry. So this is about being free to express that anger safely without attaching anything to it. So without attaching guilt or shame, without attaching grievance to it. And something called justified action. It's Mary's very clear on this. It's like, be very, very clear of your motivations. This justified action, where is it coming from? Has the guile of the ego. The ego is tricky, and it will kind of like just try and get in there where it can. And so this is about being very clean and clear, and actually accepting ourselves as a sacred sovereign being that we truly are. And it overcomes this challenge so that we can embody our sovereignty. So this is divine union, as above as below. Sacred masculine, sacred feminine, embodying that divine right here on earth for the highest good for ourselves, and really importantly, the highest good for all. I hope you find that interesting, and come and talk to me about the Magdalene Code Soul Academy if you're interested in receiving these codes. And also there's more information somewhere around here. Have a look. Lots of love. Bye-bye.